because I couldn't have a single episode where I don't mention it. But that's where I think psychedelics could then be a connecting factor in the culture evolution.
Right.
Not the defining characteristic, simply a tool within the larger thing.
Yeah.
There are other things too. Meditation.
Right.
Fitness and health in general. If people are eating better and they're healthier, then they're going to make better decisions, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of catalyst type things that can happen.
Right. Assuming our culture does advance, you know, simultaneously with the technology.
And we're not going at the same rate as the technology, but we are evolving.
Right.
If you look at even though like some things are negative at the moment, the larger picture is that we're trying to be better.
Yeah.
We don't exactly know how to do it yet.
Yeah.
But we are trying to be better. And how recently was the civil rights movement?
Yeah,
You know, it's still very recent. So I think in general, we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go.
Absolutely.
But we should be proud of what we've done, but not be satisfied with it.
Yeah.
You know, keep pushing for more.
Yeah, of course. And I think even just the whole technological singularity is the very like left brain view of it all. And I think something else we have to, you know, factor in is like pharmacology and, you know, just what plant species and, again, psychedelics, what they can teach us. Because as far as like, you know, an ayahuasca trip, they call it Mother Ayahuasca. Like you're actually interacting with this spirit of the vine. And if that spirit of the vine were to, you know, cause a mass, you know, awakening in the population, I think we would take a completely different approach to the technology we were making and how we were thinking about it, what we were doing. So, yeah.
No, I agree. So diving into that then, what are your experiences with psychedelics?
Yeah, let's see. I started with shrooms in high school with a few buds, and it was a good time. Nothing too crazy, no ego death or anything. But going into it, it definitely was like I viewed it as sacred, and I wasn't going to. You know, it was recreational, but it wasn't at the same time. So kind of messed around with those a couple times and experimented with LSD as well. Had a few good and bad trips on that. Always something to learn, even if it's like, you know, you think everything's going to end. Like just coming out of it, I'm like, I learned about myself, you know?
Yes.
It's never like a regretful time or anything like that. So yeah, those two. And then I have tried to blast off NDMT, but did not. I didn't do like the consecutive like 3 hits. So it was cool, and I was kind of like in this tesseract room when I closed my eyes, but I was still on the couch.
Totally.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that everyone in their life should have some kind of psychedelic experience, because again, I think like, you know, the plants have something to teach us. We you know, we're using them for other uses. I think we can also use them as like a medicine for the mind.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. I think it does. I think it heals.
Yeah.
I think it can. I don't think it guaranteed does. I
Right.
think you know, it's on you to have the intention
Right.
for sure. But so you said you've had a couple good ones and a couple bad ones. First, tell me about one of your best trips, and then I want to know about one of your difficult times.
Totally. I would definitely say it's funny because my best trip started as a terrible one, but just the end experience was like, it was everything. But it's so random. My friend hits me up on like a Thursday night and he was like, hey, I got some booms. You want to like hang out? And I was like, sure. Not that much. I had done it before. Felt like I was like decently experienced, and it just knocked me on my ass, like completely, like kind of transported to other places instantaneously, and was really not ready for it. Again, like maybe doing it a little too recreationally in the moment without enough like reverence or respect for it.
Yeah.
But then I don't know what happened. I finally like calmed down and just started breathing, and I just really felt this connection to this like ethereal, like galactic, gold, heavenly like area. And I almost started like picturing nirvana in a way, and I could feel my body like elevating, or it felt good, and it felt like I was like moving towards what you would conceive of that. And that was beautiful. But I was with other people, so I was like, well, I don't really want to like, you know, go off completely. Maybe like more of a personal thing, but that was beautiful. And you know, I mean, it was so good, it made me want to like, this doesn't maybe sounds backwards, but it was so good, it made me want to like quit my job. Like after you have that experience, you're like, wow, like this is beautiful. There's more to it. All of this is more so an illusion, and you know, really profound in that way.
Yeah.
So that was definitely one of my better experiences, and that was shrooms. As far as negative go, LSD. I've got a crazy story. I don't know if you want to go fully into it.
Sure.
I'll give you like a brief summary because it's kind of long. But I went to Electric Forest for the first time last year, weekend 2. And again, well versed in like psychedelics, and I think so. And having done other things, and so I decided one day definitely gonna trip, and I also decided for the first time I would candy flip. So if any of you know what that means, yeah. So yeah, just take the tab though in the beginning of the day. Beautiful, walk around the forest. You can explore, and there was like a maze, and we found this random woman just like serving tea and like reading our tarot deck. So it was just like, you can imagine like on any kind of psychedelic, it was just like such a cool experience. And then it basically turned into nighttime where I added some other things on top of it. And just kind of had an anxious time with the group I was with. And that's a big thing about psychedelics, is like who you're with, where you are. And I was trying to really, take care of that, but I decided to go off by myself. And it was great. But later on, a friend called me who didn't know I was tripping. He was like, "Help, I need your help right now. Like, I think I'm having a heart attack." So, me being by myself, tripping on like, more than one substance, I was like really like, oh crap, like now I feel like I have to go shift to a position of responsibility.
Yeah.
And
I didn't, shit, I gotta help my friend.
Yeah, and I didn't even have what he was asking for in the end. I'm trying to see how I can condense this because there's a lot that happens to it. But basically, long story short, I get lost in the forest. Like if you've ever been, it's just lights and like pathways and trees. So finally find them, and him saying heart attack translated into my heart attack. So I thought I was having one, and then that was where everything turned. And if I've learned anything,
that's where everything turned.
Exactly. If I've learned anything about these experiences, it's to trust yourself, but then at the same time, almost like not trust your like pessimism or your paranoia.
Yeah.
Because if I would have just been like, look, you've taken this, you're fine. He's having a hard time, and it's made you uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, like, you're not dying, you're not having a heart attack. I wish I would have had that reasoning.
It's easy to say it later, though.
Right.
You have the clarity of the moment now. So it's you can't really blame yourself for that. But that being said, now if you were to run into it, you do have that.
Right.
And so you would jump to that. That
Absolutely.
would be a tool that you could use, and you add it to your tool belt. Yeah, these things are, they're like, I like to say that they're safer than alcohol and stuff. And I mean that physiologically, but not necessarily mentally, right? It really is something that is not to be taken lightly. And these kind of things can happen to, like you said, hey, I'm pretty experienced in psychedelics. I'm well versed in them. I've done them enough times, and I've been in this type of environment before on them. A music festival can be an overwhelming stimuli, I would say.
Absolutely.
So for somebody who isn't well versed, I would not advise that.
No.
You might have a great time, but it's a bigger risk, I think.
Also, I would say avoid
mixing.
Avoid mixing.
Yeah.
If you're going to trip at a festival, I would avoid the like overly produced or corporate ones, if that makes sense. Like I would go to something low key and very like, actually does focus on like a message. And I think Electric Forest used to, but going there was fun, but it definitely was like, this is a scene. This is like a very specific culture, and maybe not the best to heighten things like that.
No, I feel you, and it's set and setting. It's your mindset and the setting that you're in, and that setting, like I said, could be overwhelming to I think a lot of people.
Yeah.
So if it's gonna be your first time, it's gotta be, I feel like, in a safe place,
absolutely. Right.
Your place where you can hang out, you have a home base you can go to. You can travel like by having somebody else drive you or something, like Uber. So if you did want to go somewhere, but I would advise against going too far from home base, to be honest.
Yeah, right. And again, definitely got to like love the people you're with. If you're far away in camping environment or what have you, really got to make sure those things. So lessons learned. There's a little more to the story I won't get into, but let's just say the med tent was a first. Not for actually any medical reasons, just like this dude needs to take a nap.
Yeah, this dude needs to hang out here for a second.
Yeah.
He needs to figure some shit out. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's part of it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.